Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Shawn DeWeerd.
I'm Andy Taylor, and the table you are looking at right now on the video for the show is Shawn's haul from GenCon.
Yeah, I got back Sunday night from GenCon 2025, so there's a little bit of picture of my haul. So I've got some new games, some more Everdell games, Everdell Silverfrost, Everdell Duo, which is a 2-player version, Twinkle Twinkle, which is a constellation building game, stars in space, of course, shocker. A game called Galaxy Trucker, which is another space game. Dice Tray, some dice, a Daggerheart book, which I actually had bought before GenCon, but got it signed. And then some new D&D 5 ebooks from GUI Cube,
Right.
which is a third-party platform for D&D. One of my favorites. I've been following them for a long time and got to participate in their live show this year, which is pretty cool. And then a game called Foxy for a friend of ours who likes foxes. And then, do you remember Pogs, Andy?
Pogs. Pogs were those, yeah, I do. Matter of fact, I had a Pog with my face on it. It was me and my old morning show partner. They would hand out these Pogs, and it was me and Barry on these Pogs. I think I still have a few somewhere.
So Pogs were very popular when I was in grade school. So this would have been mid-90s, late 90s.
Right.
And one of the games that I play, called Dice Throne, was teased like 2 years ago, an April Fool's joke called Slamthrone, a Pog version of their game where you have a metal slammer and you slam down to do damage and stuff like that. And at this year at Gen Con, they're like, no longer an April Fool's joke. Here it is. You can buy it.
They actually came out with the game.
Yeah.
Right,
so
for our listeners that have tuned in, now last year we talked about Gen Con.
We've talked about Gen Con since I've been on the show. I've gone the last 10 years.
So tell us
every
about
year
where it's at and what it's all about.
So Gen Con is kind of is dubbed as the best 4 days in gaming. It's a tabletop RPG, fantasy, card game, tabletop RPG, whatever, you name it. Anything board game related, tabletop gaming convention. It's held in Indianapolis at the Indianapolis Convention Center. It takes over the convention center and it takes over Lucas Oil Stadium. So it takes over.
Would you say, Shawn, all right, and we'll get to that, but I'm wondering, with so many devices, with so many announcements, consoles, Switch 2, the whole bit, is desktop gaming as far as playing on a tabletop, like Dungeons and Dragons, Traveler, that type, is that still popular?
So it hasn't broke through into this convention as big as you think it was. As big as you think it would. There are some parts of it that there are some people who bring in like some computer-based RPG games or some computer-based role-playing games. So like some people had some space games where everybody sat at a computer and did a different part of the ship, and they did like a role-playing scenario where you flew a ship and stuff like that. But as far as like video games and things like that, not here, not at Gen Con.
Really?
This is just board games, card games, tabletops, RPGs, fantasy games.
So there's still a lot of people. There's still a lot of people playing these type of games.
Oh yeah.
Versus using something on a screen.
Yeah, more than you would think, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's very popular, and there are a lot of familiar titles that have popular IPs like Marvel and Spider-Man, and you got to get into a lot of those IPs that have a lot. But then there's also games that just have their own IPs. They're their own. Like Everdell has. There's about a dozen games in the Everdell series.
Right.
I own the complete collection plus the 2 new ones that just came out. I'm just I have a lot of board games, as indicated by that picture. That's just by my table. You can see the shelf off of that. Here, I'll put it back up.
Yeah, let's see that.
You can kind of see, like, if you look off to the right, there's an IKEA shelf over there that is full. It's a 6x6 shelf. It's full of board games, and you can see more board games on the back wall, more Magic cards on the left side. I've got a whole room in my basement dedicated to this stuff. So.
Now, how long, like you're playing one of these games, for our listeners that maybe have never thought, hey, this might be fun to do with, the kids or maybe, with a group of friends, how long can one of these games last? I mean, so you start a game, can you have it go a couple hours, or
So that's the beauty about board games, right? You can find your niche. You can find the game that takes 5-6 hours to play if you really wanted to, but a lot of the games are dialed into like 30 to 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. It all depends on the technique. Some people like complicated games. Some people like fast-paced games. Some people like turn-based games. Some people like cooperative games. Some people like you versus the game. Some people like all sorts of stuff. There's all sorts. Everybody has their own version of what they want to play, like the style, their gameplay, what they like. So there's tons of games for everybody. Not all games are for everybody. There are games that I don't like playing because it's not my style. But I have a pretty wide variety, a pretty wide range, because I just like games in general. But yeah, I would say my favorite is like high fantasy, turn-based. I don't know, a lot. There's a lot. So
is there one game like, say, at GenCon? You look at Comic-Con. Everybody's talking about the movies. They're talking about the comics. They're talking about TV shows, streaming stuff. I mean, George Lucas made an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was like everybody wanted to talk about this because, he's got such a huge fan base. At Gen Con, is there one game that everybody was talking about that they said, you've got to try this? It's big. And is there one developer bigger than the others?
Oh, man, there's so many big developers. I would say probably the biggest one this year is another tabletop RPG called Daggerheart, which we've talked about on the show before because I got into the open beta a couple months ago. They actually have a full production release. And we've talked about Critical Role on this show before. Mm-hmm. So the publisher called Darrington Press is who Critical Role started. They started the publishing company called Darrington Press. And they released their own dice-based RPG system called Daggerheart. So that is big. It's fully released now, and they're already talking about future pieces, expansions, character updates, etc. And we actually went to a live show in Fishers, Indiana, which is just north of Indianapolis. It was a live playthrough of Daggerheart with the Critical Role cast, and wow. They announced their new campaign, which is Campaign 4. It's rumored to be in the Daggerheart series. They've been playing D&D 5e for the last 3 campaigns, but it's very highly rumored and most likely going to be Daggerheart. So it's a whole new system that is competing with Dungeons and Dragons at this point. So,
well, it's kind of cool because I know that it was probably a few months ago. I went to a shopping center just outside of Marana, and it's an outdoor shopping center. And I'm trying to remember the name of it, but they had a store in there dedicated to what we're talking about, the games, the books, the board games. And they do very well. And there is a lot of people that play them. And a lot of us, maybe we're so wrapped up in our world. I remember my mom and dad used to play bridge and poker with their friends when they would come over and visit on a Saturday. But this is something that maybe a younger set is getting to. Is it geared at the male audience or females? Do they get involved in it as well?
It is the entire spectrum. Everybody is loved at Gen Con. Like, it's a big part of their identity is everybody's welcome. Harassment's not welcome here. Everybody. You get, right. It's for everybody. Kids, all the way. I mean, everybody. That's really the only thing I can say. It's for everybody. And there's games catered to everybody. There's games catered to specific identities. There's games just everybody.
Now, I remember I used to play Traveler, and that was before our devices. So it was a lot of fun. It was, role playing. You roll the dice, and then, this is your situation. What do you do? That kind of thing. It was fun. I remember that. This is many, many years ago. Now, I'm wondering, though, have we seen a kind of a merging of the board games with technology? So like somebody might need your smartphone for a certain piece of that. And of course, if they do add-ons, like you had mentioned, maybe a brand new series, these games aren't just you open like Scrabble, you open the box, you play it, and then you're done. You could have different adventures or different scenarios, right?
Yeah, so there are usually expansions for games. And a big thing for me for a lot of games is replayability. Mm-hmm. So being able to play a game and come back to it and have a different experience.
Right.
So you play it once with your friends, you have a completely different outcome. You play it the next time with a different group, completely different outcome. because it's all based on random number generation and dice rolling and things like that. So there's not a lot of games. There's a lot of popular games that have digital versions. Ticket to Ride, Catan, Dice Drone's coming out with a digital version. There are ways to play these games online.
Right. How about Battlefield? It's your
So you want to talk about space-based or military-based games? You're starting to get into things like Warhammer and other miniature-based games like that. Warhammer, Star Wars, Legion, a couple other like miniature-based dice rolling, tactical turn-by-turn based games, and there's a ton of that stuff too. So, GenCon has everything, man. I'm telling you. If you're into anything related to board games, or maybe if you think like, oh, my board games stop at Monopoly, like there's a whole new world out there for you.
Kind of think that last year when you had gone, you had sent some photos. There's cosplay that happens, so there are people that really get into it and they dress up in costumes. Did you see a lot of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, and like again, it's across. There's so many genres, so it's not like you're going to something that's just a specific IP, right? So you have people that are dressed up as characters you may have never even heard of, but it's from their favorite series or favorite game. And we went to the Critical Role live show, and the Critical Role live show is just a whole different subsect of the community, right? It's a lot of creative people. It's a lot of. Then the cosplay there was so much better than cosplay I've seen other places because they're so dedicated. They're so focused on one IP, and you just saw characters from that series. And there's a whole. They do a parade through the convention center with all the cosplay, and then they do a contest too. So you can go in and watch the contest, and you can win prizes and stuff like that for best dress and all that stuff.
That's pretty cool. Now, do you have a favorite, for our listeners that are thinking, well, I'm going to go check out this store in Marana, or they want to go online and maybe order one of these. Do you have a favorite that maybe somebody who wants to get into this or try it? What would be a game that they should start with? And what is your favorite right now?
Oh man, that is a loaded question, right? It's because it's you have, everybody's different, right? So I will tell everybody to try a game at least once because you might find that you like it, you might find that you not. If you're interested in board games, I would tell you Dice Throne is one to get into pretty quick. If you like dice rolling games, a little bit of tactical, player versus player, player versus the environment, player versus the game. They have a Marvel set. They have an X-Men set. They have their own IP characters in the series. I have a ton of that. That one's fun. The Everdell series is a fantasy worker placement game where you collect resources and try and build your own little world, your own little town inside Everdell and compete for resources against other players. They make a version of that called My Little Everdell, which is like for ages 6 and up.
Really?
So if you're interested in learning the Everdell series, like the core mechanics of Everdell, that's your go-to. I bought it 2 years at GenCon because I'd never played Everdell. I have a friend who's obsessed with it. She told me, if you want to learn how to play Everdell, buy this. You're going to love it. Bought it at Gen Con. My friend Steve and I figured out how to play it. And I was like, this game's awesome. And last year, I bought the whole complete collection of Everdell, which was like 8 games within the whole box. Remember I showed you that big box?
Yeah. That was huge box.
That huge box. Yeah, it has all the Everdell games in it, plus the expansions and the collector's editions of all the games too. So then they added a new version of Everdell this past year called Silverfrost, which I bought, and then I got to meet and talk with the husband and wife who developed Everdell, and they signed the player guide for me and signed the inside of the box. And then Caitlin, when she came down, because she came with me for one day this year, she saw an Everdell Duo, which is just a 1v1. You play against the other person. It's based the same core mechanics, but you're fighting it's just one-on-one. It's not 4 player. It's just a 2-player version of Everdell. But there's so many good games. I mean, I don't know where to start. But if you want party games, I have a lot of party games. So there's like a game called Sushi Go, which it sounds funny, but it's a game where you try and collect different types of sushi, and it's a party game. So you could be 2 to 8 players. So you could have 8 players at the same time fighting for sushi. It's really incredibly fun. Oh God, there's so many good games, Andy. I don't even know where to start. Una, I mean,
GenCon is mainly adventure games. You're not going to find games like Cards Against Humanity, which a few.
No, you will. You'll find,
right?
but you'll find Cards Against Humanity. You'll find all sorts of those kind of games. You'll find anything tabletop related is here. So you'll find Cards Against the Humanity. You'll find the really kind of crude and humorous ones like Joking Hazard. If you're familiar with the comic Cyanide and Happiness,
yes.
Online, they created a card game a handful of years ago. They've actually created several. Cards Against Humanity, Bears vs. Babies, a couple other ones that are really, really good. Trial by Trolley, which is another really fun one. There's so many good games. Like I could just show you my shelf and tell you why these games are all good.
Right.
But then there's RPGs, right? So you've got Dungeons and Dragons, Daggerheart, Call of Cthulhu, Eat the Reich. I mean, there's so many good RPG games that are out there that I don't even know about because I wasn't super into other tabletop RPGs besides D&D for a long time.
Now, if you've never played D&D, right, and actual Dungeons and Dragons, is that something, I don't want to call newbies, but is that something that they can get into pretty easily with a small group of friends?
So 5e, so Dungeons and Dragons has been around for a long time. And in 2015, they announced a new version of Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because you had D&D 3.5, and then Dungeons and Dragons 4e, which came out. And then they announced it was originally called D&D Next, but then they called it 5e, 5th edition. And it kind of became a very rudimentary way to get people involved. It was a simpler set of rules, condensed everything, and they started making these starter kits, starter boxes that were one-shot modules, pre-generated character sheets, things that made it really easy to get into D&D without having a D&D knowledge. Also spurned by Stranger Things, right? Stranger Things came out. They were playing D&D in the show. That you saw a big uprising in popularity from that show. Plus, you started seeing a trend where you had a lot of podcasters coming in doing live plays. Right. So you had Critical Role coming in around 2015 doing D&D 5e, coming from Pathfinder, which is another tabletop version, another D&D style version of a game called Pathfinder. Different rule set, different rules, its own core world, its own system. Then 5e became very popular. Now there are more podcasts than you can count on Dungeons & Dragons. Now it's slowly turning into a little bit more Daggerheart because Daggerheart just came out. It's a little bit more popular. I think it's incredible. It's an incredible system. I think Daggerheart's a little bit more user-friendly for new players. So I think, and I said this about D&D, I know Matt plays D&D. I know Justin's maybe played once or twice. Maybe you played a handful of years ago back in the day. I would like to do a Tech Talk Radio one-shot. Like, I would run it. I would run it. You, me, Matt, and
Justin, yep.
Justin, and I think it'd be incredible.
We got to do that. That would be a blast.
But I think with Daggerheart, we'd be able to just drop in and do it.
Right.
I think it'd be fun to do one in 5e and one in Daggerheart and then compare for new players the systems. But yeah, I mean, there's so many good shows. And what I like about GenCon is that you get to go and meet the people that make these games because they like playing games just as much as you do.
That's why they created it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's one group that I picked up a version of one of their games called The Darkest Dream, which was it's a module for 5e. So it's a book, maps, character background, story, world and building. And it was incredidy. It was called Gooey Cube. They're based out of Colorado.
Right.
And met them there, loved their books. They said, hey, come check out our little show that we do. We're doing this little like game show style. We're going to bring in some D&D celebrities. We're going to have them play our game for a little bit and maybe give some prizes away. That was like 6 years ago. And now they're probably one of the biggest 5e publishers, third-party publishers that exist.
Wow.
And their game show sells out every year. And I did it this year, and they have 5 players. They have 4 players that play the game show. This year they picked team captains. I was the team captain for one of the players, so I got to help pick because they get the audience involved, and the audience can buy power-ups and and buy rewards and stuff, and it was incredible. I got to do that. We ended up not winning, but it was incredibly fun. And I ended up getting a gift card for their store, which I went and promptly spent more than what I probably should have at their store.
Is this an expensive hobby to get into?
Yes.
You should see. Hopefully, you see the look on Shawn's face. But
so it can be, right? It doesn't have to be, because you can buy board games. And I think if you go to Target, Meijer,
really,
Walmart, wherever, and go to their gaming section. 15 years ago, you never would have seen a majority of the titles that are on the shelves. You would have seen Uno, Monopoly, Life, Sorry,
right,
Trouble, your typical fun 1-2 hour family games. Candyland, Shoots and Ladders, whatever. You are seeing a lot of these titles, Catan, Splendor, some of the Marvel games at these retailers because they're becoming popular. Catan is probably one of the most popular. If you talk to somebody that's into board games, you said, "What's a game that you like to play?" and they'll say Catan. Right. Catan it's a settler. It's a hex-based building. You settle and get resources and stuff. It's an incredibly fun game. It's been around for a very long time. I played it in grade school. It's kind of where I got my start in this whole thing. I played it with my youth group growing up. And kind of rooted me into board gaming at that time. But until I had adult money, I didn't really have a whole lot of money to spend on board games until after college and stuff. So kind of got into it then.
Oh, that's cool. All right. If our listeners want to get more information about it, obviously there's websites. Is there one website maybe versus another that they could learn more about the different games, or is it
BoardGameGeek.com?
BoardGameGeek.com. All right,
it's probably the best website resource for board games. It's going to give you information about the game. It's going to tell you literally everything you need to know about the game, where you can buy it, reviews, articles. They had a huge booth at GenCon, so they do a big review every year. But you can sign in, build a profile, and put all of your games in there, and then find other people that play those games and talk about them. And then if you want to play online,
that was going to be my next question. Can that
BoardGameArena.com?
Oh, all right.
And you can play a lot of these titles online, and they keep adding more and more every day. Every time you go to there, like, oh, I can play that game.
So how would that work? It's not a digital game; it's a board game, but you're playing online. Is it like a camera on your board or one board?
No, it's a virtualized version of the board. It's you just play in the browser and it shows you the board, and it pops up the cards, and it's all interactive. And they have a ton of the major title platforms on there, and also some of the other major titles have their own versions. Ticket to Ride, Catan has their own, but is available on Board Game Arena. Gloomhaven. I mean, there are so many good ones that just have their own digital platforms because it makes it more accessible. Because again, in the world of technology, in the world of knowing people around the world, you can't always get together and collaborate at a table. But
true,
you're one screen away from being able to play with your friends around the world. So
that makes it pretty cool, and that's how we would probably do the Tech Talk Radio one.
Yeah, we would do it on a website called Roll20, which is a website designed for it's called a virtual tabletop, so VTT. If you go to my YouTube channel, you guys have probably seen me streaming it before, where I streamed a handful of my D&D games a couple years ago throughout the sessions that I do. But I can make maps, I can put in minis, I can do all dynamic lighting, I can do all sorts of stuff. So I will build it in there, and then with Daggerheart, there's a website called Demiplane, which has a character builder, character sheets, interactive character sheets. You can track all of your stats and everything online dynamically within the game, so that when you make changes, I see them as the GM, and the other players can see them dynamically, and it's all virtual.
All right.
So there's a great community around it, and it's so good.
All right, that's BoardGameGeek.com.
Yeah, BoardGameGeek.com, BoardGameArena.com. Roll20.net, Demiplane.com, and I think we have to take a break.
All right, we are going to take a break. Some comments made last week regarding Linux. Had some great response and feedback in social media. We'll share a couple of those thoughts with you coming up on Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Follow us on Facebook at Tech Talk Radio.
During the break, Shawn was showing me some of the photos from GenCon, and he's actually, if you take a look at his camera, Shawn, tell me, what is this picture we're looking at right now?
So at GenCon, they have a vendor hall which has all the stores you can buy stuff from. And this is on Sunday.
Right.
Of the people waiting to get in because the vendor hall opens at 10 a.m. every morning. And this is just the sea of people waiting. And this is Sunday.
Amazing.
This is day 5 of the con, and this is the number of people waiting in line. So you can kind of see it just stretches on.
And they come from all over for
all over the world. So
Wow.
a lot of the vendors are from Europe, Asia. They're not just from the U.S. or from the surrounding. They're from, like, having this so close to me here in Indianapolis is a blessing. Like,
Yeah.
I would travel to this show if it was in a different part of the country, but
Right.
it's a 2.5 hour car drive for me.
Oh, it's still. Oh,
But
wow.
but you get people flying in from all over the country to come to GenCon, all over the world to come to GenCon.
Amazing.
So
Great photos again. If you haven't seen the video up available, it's up on our website, blog.techtalkradio.com. This past week we talked a little bit about Linux, and I remember there's another radio show that's out there that does tech, and I remember when I heard the host make some kind of comment regarding Linux, and said that he wouldn't talk about Linux. He didn't want to talk about it on the show because he felt that it was a niche and that not enough people were getting into it. And, it's rare to hear, other shows talking about Linux and what it presents for you, the user. And you may be fine with Windows and, you may be, oh, cool. And you may have already gone to Windows 11 and you're happy with it and it does its thing for you. Or maybe you're a Mac user and it really doesn't affect you that much because everything seems to work fine with Mac, right? But Linux is something that for a lot of people, and there's so many different distributions. Justin made the comment, Linux is kind of like you have this great Linux distribution like Linux Mint 22, and it's like that meme with the guy walking with the girl, and then he's turning around looking, and what he's looking at is the newest version of Windows. And we posted that clip on a YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and other social media, and it got a lot of comments and a lot of views from people out there that are using Linux. And I wanted to mention some of these comments because for those that have been on the fence about Linux, and I don't know, you have used Linux in the past, right, Shawn?
Oh, yes. I've been using Linux for various things for decades at this point.
Right. And I know Slick, who is on the show with us quite often, has used different distributions, Red Hat, the whole bit. I mean, he goes way back with Linux. He used to carry around USB drives on, the things you put around your neck, and he'd have like 10 or 12 of them. He would carry them around. But so with the comments that Justin had made on the social media, some of the comments, Jareth Fox wrote, Linux, unlimited customization, runs almost everything, open source, alternatives for almost everything that doesn't work or is not free. Windows, familiar and easy and intrusive and very virus friendly.
Accurate.
It's pretty accurate because, I mean, it's not to say that the Linux community does not have to deal with, spyware, malware, viruses, the whole bit. But it is pretty accurate that Windows becomes a giant target. Number one, for its huge user base, although that's decreased over time. We saw a report recently that said that the number of people that have left the Windows platform was quite substantial. There's another one here from Brosia Chill. Says, I can understand the appeal of Linux, but as a daily driver, I've always used Windows and can't force myself to switch. I think we get used to some of the programs that are out there and, the programs that run within Windows, and whether it be Office, whether it be Adobe Suite, or whether it be, any of those programs that we use under Windows, we get so used to them, we don't realize that there are good options in Linux that people could be using.
Yeah, so there's good desktop environments, right? So everybody, when you think of Linux, you think of like a hacker sitting at a computer running command line. Sure, if you're into that, You can run a command line only. There are Linux distributions that are command line only, where you have to know how to make directories and point and run the executables from directories and compile stuff. And sure, if you're into that, great. But there are a lot of distros that come natively with a GUI.
Yeah.
That you can log into, and you get Firefox built in most often. You can download Chrome. They have a software center. Like, if you're just doing daily web browsing and maybe some minor word processing, you would have no issue using Linux.
Absolutely. Open Office. There's so many third-party programs out there that are available that'll run on the Linux platform that are either free or not very expensive, and you could get the free version to see how it's going to work for you, and then maybe expand to a version that can provide a little more, customization and maybe for what you want. I don't know. Alternative 2, and we may have mentioned this last week. Does that have, an area where, hey, if you're running Linux, this might work for you?
Yes, and I'll pull that up here.
Alternative2.net is a site you can go to if you run a program, like maybe you were using Adobe Photoshop, and with the change of software and services, it got a little expensive. You decided, man, I'm having a hard time with this, but I want to be able to adjust my photos. Yes, our smartphones can do a lot of that, but there's other programs out there like GIMP, and I don't know if there's that'll run under that. There's other programs that'll run under these great environments.
Yeah, and on Alternative 2, I just typed in what is alternative to Linux Mint, which is one of my favorite distributions now. Mm-hmm. I've used a lot, right? I've used Ubuntu, I've used Debian, but Linux Mint just the most user friendly. It just works. It installs quickly. It runs really well.
I got it to run on a CD if you want it on an old laptop, and it worked great.
But I put it in. There were 177 different alternatives to Linux Mint.
Oh wow. What does that tell you? Yeah.
Go down the hole, right? Everybody can make their own distribution based off of the Linux kernel. And yeah, I mean, it's
right. There's another comment there. Linux is great if you're unemployed and have nothing better to do than fight your operating system 24/7. I don't know if that one can be 100% true. Kobe, I think, had written that one because I think, honestly, you're going to find a different distribution may solve some of the issues you've been having.
Again, right, you got to find one that is built for people that don't want to learn Linux. So, I mean, yes, there is some fundamental understanding you have to have. It's not Windows.
Right.
It's just, you're not going to be able to go to a website, download their file, and install it for Windows because they might not have it. 2, they might have a Linux installer for it. And if you want to, you can, if you get a good distribution of Linux that has a GUI that makes it easy to install stuff, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
But every version of Linux allows you to take that step into the deep end and run your own command line interfaces if you want. Build it out from there. But the benefit of Linux is it runs on everything. You've got a 10-year-old laptop laying around that you don't know what to do with, slap a solid-state hard drive in it. Get it to the highest amount of RAM that your CPU can support. Put Linux on it.
Yeah.
It's going to run.
Yeah.
Get some life into an old computer if you want. Give it to your kid to play with. Like, I'm excited for I've got tons of computers in my house. Everybody knows that. I'm excited for when Macs can just break down a computer and put Linux on it and have fun and destroy it and riddle it with malware and like learn how to do stuff on a Linux computer. Like, that's where I started. Right? So long ago, and it was still DOS at that point. But, yeah, I mean, so much of our stuff in the industry runs on Linux backend servers and stuff like that. Having a fundamental understanding of the basics of Linux is important. Do I know how to deep dive and like code stuff and do all my own software development? No.
Yeah.
But I can at least step in the right direction and say, okay, here's where our problem lies, and then go to the developer and say, look, it's screwing up this directory by when I install this file or run this thing, it goes to, and then they can figure it out from there. But
there were some great comments, and I want to thank everybody who did take the time to leave a comment, whether it be on TikTok or YouTube. But I like this one, and it makes sense. And tell me if this is the truth. Linux is a great operating system. I've used it for decades. The problem I found that it's got a very toxic community. If you
Yes.
don't know something, don't ask in a forum. You'll most likely get ridiculed till you leave. There's very little help for newbies. And
That's why I like ChatGPT.
yeah.
Because
Yep, absolutely.
I can ask ChatGPT the question, and it gives me the answer.
Yeah.
It doesn't say go get a book, or doesn't say go to coding school, or figure it out yourself. But that's true of any hobby.
That there's always
Right.
somebody in that hobby, whether it be radio control or drone flying, the whole bit. If you join a group, there might be somebody in there that knows more than you. And they'll
It's
let
like
you know.
everybody on every forum that just says use Google.
Yeah.
Well, if I wanted to be in part of the community, why in the heck am I going to go to Google?
Yeah.
Why can't I interact with the community and get advice from other people in the community that may have had these struggles when I started? That's what I hate about online forums. There's no sense of community. It's just me against you. Figure it out yourself. Google it. I don't want to take the time to help you. Figure it out yourself.
And it happens in every community.
That's the Linux community, though.
But
to a
in
T.
Linux, it's photography. I've seen that in photography. I've seen
You
it
see
where
it in
people,
everything. You see it
Yeah.
in everything.
and ChatGPT. Well, some people will say, "Oh, I'm not using that." I'll tell you, it's helped in coding. I've put in stuff where I said, "Hey, how could I clean this code up?" And it'll go through and tell you how to do it. To me, it's been, okay, this is really helpful. That's why I am hoping in schools that they are really going to go ahead and make this a part of the curriculum where they teach the proper prompting and use of ChatGPT to get the most out of AI. Whatever platform they're using, because ChatGPT isn't the only game in town, but honestly, so that they can learn.
Yeah, and my favorite thing to see on forums and threads and stuff is, have you ever had somebody just send you a link to the let me Google that for you?
No, I haven't. What is that?
There is a website that you can go to. It's called letmegooglethat.com.
Really? Okay.
You type in what you wanted to search, and then you send them a link, and it
Right.
opens up Google, and it types it in and hits search for you. So you click on the link, and it
Really?
automatically opens Google, types in what you wanted to say, and searches.
Now, I know you're on Reddit. Do you find that type of community, that toxic kind of feeling?
The whole website, you mean?
Or Reddit, yeah.
The whole website is
Oh,
you have
really?
you have to take Reddit with a grain of salt.
Right.
Any community on Reddit, some of them are okay.
Yeah.
A lot of them are 100% full. Is this your first time on the internet, Andy? Like, I mean,
I've caught some of that, but yeah. I've been in radio many years, and I've had people that have come up to me right to my face and said, "I hate you. I don't like you on the radio." That whole bit that happens, and you got to smile. Just say, "Okay."
it's every industry, every hobby. Everybody's got them.
Right.
I just, I'll always answer questions for people as honestly and as truthfully as I can. But if that's going to piss somebody off, and then that's on them.
Yeah. Well, when we started doing the show too, we would get that. You get somebody that would call in, and they would ask a question, and then we give the answer, and then somebody else would call in and say, "You gave the wrong answer. This is the answer." I mean, that's
Well, then you do your own show then. Okay, bye. You want to be the face of this show? Go right ahead. Make your own show.
All right, new products. We love talking about new stuff, especially when it comes to drones, photography, the whole bit. There's some new stuff we want to tell you about. We got a listener question as well that we're going to go over, two of them. When we come back with Tech Talk Radio, I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Follow us on Instagram at Tech Talk Radio. So during the break, we kind of went through a couple listener questions. We're going to read a couple here, and we've got Dave. Doesn't say where Dave's from, but somewhere in Arizona, I'm sure. And I would say it wrong, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So Dave has a new laptop,
Right.
and it's in Windows S mode.
Right.
And when Andy told me what this question was, and I read it, I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What is Windows S?"
You haven't had to deal with Windows S.
Haven't had to
yet.
deal with Windows S.
Right.
Right? Okay, we're dealing with Windows 11, all right? But now it's Windows 11 S,
All right. Or Windows 10.
which stands for Windows 11 Secure.
Yeah. All right. So
Which-
Dave's question says, I have no idea what that is, but a buddy at work said, get rid of it.
Simplified, secure, switchable. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a limiting version of Windows. It's like parental controls for Windows.
Exactly what it is. And people have been buying these laptops with Windows S on it, not realizing that there is some limitations to it.
But what they don't know is it's actually Windows 11. It's just in S mode. So you can, if you really want to, and you should, in my opinion, follow the steps. I found just a quick Google search, which we talked about Google in the last episode. I Googled it. Tech Radar has a great article about it. There's a dozen articles about it right off the rip on Google on how to get out of Windows S mode.
All right.
But according to the article, it's going to scare you.
Yeah.
It's going to threaten you. If you leave Windows S mode, you can't go back.
Well, I don't know. This is kind of the thing that we're going through right now with the Windows 10 to Windows 11. There's a lot of fear going on. There's people who actually believe, and you should know, that your computer will not suddenly not turn on October 14th when the support for Windows 10 will supposedly, or previous versions have already gone, but when Windows 10 will no longer be considered a supporting operating system. Now, they're scaring you. They're believing you. If the people that believe that, they think, oh my gosh, I got to get something new. Now the new word that they're putting out is, well, no. You could get security updates for a year. Because that's what it is. Windows 10 will still work. And you get security updates. If you're connected to the net, you get security updates for a year. But you got to connect your laptop or your desktop, or whatever one you're using, to OneDrive. And we've talked about OneDrive.
We hate OneDrive. I hate it. It's mucked up. It's mucked up the last 2 major installations I've done for somebody. I've had to field phone calls. Why do I only have 5 gigabytes of storage on my hard drive? What are you talking about? I tried to copy my files over and it said it was full. I was like, full? You've got a terabyte. It says I have 5 gigabytes.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to pay for more storage. As soon as he said, I have to pay for more storage, I knew it was OneDrive immediately. And I was like, get that out of here.
I've been getting emails recently for photos from OneDrive. It says, these are your daily photos. They're a month old. I thought this is some kind of spam, but they're my photos. They're my photos that I used on a previous system that was connected to OneDrive that were uploaded. And it's now emailing me those photos saying, here's the memories you have from OneDrive, because it wants me to use OneDrive. And this is the thing. You shouldn't be afraid. Windows S is designed to protect your system from going out and getting third-party programs and installing them. If that program is not available in the Windows Store, the Microsoft Store, right, whether it be a free program or a paid program, you can't install it.
It's just a way to prevent people from just installing willy-nilly. Like, it'd be great for a kid, maybe an elderly parent that maybe doesn't know how to stop and clicking on bad links or downloading fake programs and stuff like that. Sure. Mm-hmm. But for the general user, it's just going to frustrate you.
Yeah.
So
and you have
Google it, follow the steps, get out of Windows S mode, get onto Windows 11, and you'll be just fine.
The other thing is you have to use their Edge browser if you're in S mode. So
which isn't the end of the world, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's Edge. Edge is built on Chromium.
You don't like Edge, right?
Everybody's gonna have an opinion. We talked about this during the last segment, right? Everybody's gonna have an opinion about their browser, their favorite one, and how many ways you can wash a sheep or skin a cat, whatever the analogy is. That
skin a sheep,
whatever. You know what I meant. But it's everybody's gonna hate on Edge. Everybody's gonna hate on Chrome. Everybody's gonna hate on Firefox, Brave. Everybody's gonna hate on whatever browser you use because it's not the one they use.
Right.
But it's Edge. It'll get you where you want to go. It'll get you so you can download Chrome, which is what everybody uses it for.
And I don't mean to go off in a left field here. I personally am getting so tired of these programs that want to connect with everything you do, whether it be Chrome or Edge. I have Symantec. I use the Norton product. I'm like every day saying I need to drop this thing because it's become so obtrusive. Like every day, a pop-up, hey, let's do this. or send me $24 and we'll do this. I just don't want any more. I want it to be able to just do what I paid for. And
download Linux.
There you go.
Get
right?
Linux and
It all goes
Firefox,
back
and you'll
to
be just
Linux.
fine. It all goes back to Linux.
I need to turn this system into a Linux box. I'm pretty much sure we're going to do it. Right now we're trying something different too. We use Zoom. Normally we use Zoom all the time. We like it. We use it for our show, our video, but the quality is not really that great. I've not been very happy with that. And then we pay a third-party service to create these great videos, short videos that are used. AI creates them. It says this would be a great clip here. This would be a great, and it gives it a scale. We use Opus Clips for that, and it's it's expensive. I want to say almost maybe $400. We can't upgrade to 4K or 2K even, or the higher quality 1080p with Zoom unless we were paying something like, I want to say $2,000 a year. Until
it's ridiculous.
We're on a tight budget. So I found this program called Riverside FM. I want to thank Scott Sands for recommending that, who does radio back east. And Scott told me about this, and I looked at it. And right now, that's what we're doing with our video. So we're testing it out today. You might take a look at it and go, that looks awful, Andy. Or you might say, that looks really great. You should stick with it. And it offers the environment, the same thing that Zoom does with its transcripts, with its ability to save video, but it's saving it in higher quality, supposedly. We don't know yet. This is the first time we've done it. And it will create the clips for us rather than us having to go and pay $30 to Opus Clips for a month for us to get the features out of that. So again, you never know. So again, I may jump to Linux Mint this next week. So we'll see how that works for us next week.
Yeah, and to segue off a comment you made just a little bit ago, right? And I just thought about this. You talked about how OneDrive has pulled photos from an old build because you were connected.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of another software another website that I used to use for photos. Have you ever heard of the website PhotoBucket?
Oh yeah, I got emails from them for a long time saying,
so
"Grab your photos."
Right. So about a year ago, I started getting emails from PhotoBucket, and I was like, I haven't used PhotoBucket for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you've got photos in PhotoBucket that are going to be deleted if you don't pay for $5.99 a month. And I was like, wait, it's a free service. What happened?
Yeah.
So I bit the bullet because they're like, you can't get access to your photos unless you pay $5.99.
Are you kidding me?
You couldn't log in and to get your photos unless you paid.
Oh man.
And I was like, this is BS, but I'm now curious. What do I have in there from that long ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And so I logged in, and there were like 10 pictures from something I uploaded to Reddit or DeviantArt like 15 years ago.
Oh man. Right.
But then I forgot to cancel.
Oh.
So then a month later, I got an email saying, thanks for your resubscription to PhotoBucket. I was like, you got me. You got me. Exactly what you wanted. Here's your $5.99, you jerks.
All right. So would you recommend to Dave? And one thing I want to mention, Dave, if you do remove Windows S, you will also get warnings that once you remove it, you will not be able to reinstall it. All right. So just remember that. But if you don't think it's something you need, yeah, you could probably remove that safely. It's not going to do you any harm as well. All right. So we got to talk about what is it? DJI and Insta360 both have had some pretty cool announcements.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Some drone stuff.
All right, here we go.
So Insta360 dropped a bombshell on the industry saying, hey, here it comes. Insta360. We called it Adrenaline earlier. That's not right. Bot said it again. It's called the Insta360 AntiGravity Drone.
AntiGravity.
Now, there's not a whole lot of stats on it right now. It's got a built-in 360-degree camera, which it's expected to weigh under the 250-gram limit, so you don't have to require the FAA infrastructure to register it. But they're saying it's going to have a huge flight time. But they're saying the target launch is August, so that's soon, right? We're in August. It's August.
Oh,
so
wow.
when is it coming?
Yeah.
But there's not much more, but it's saying built-in 360-degree 8K capture because at NAB in April, they launched their new Insta360 8K.
Oof.
But yeah, so It's got the stabilization. It's got. But yeah. So then,
are we going to run into the same problems though with Insta360 as we did with DJI? With the manufacturer where they're made because of that, the tariffs or even the complete. Now you can't get them in the U.S.
I don't know. To be honest, there's not really much info on that. But in response, DJI has a gazillion drones. Right? Everybody knows that. If you're flying a drone, it's likely a DJI. So this will break into that market and maybe put some pressure on DJI. And not that DJI needs the competition. Their drones are really, really priced well.
Yeah.
But so what's this going to do? What market is this going to shift in, and where is it going to kind of filter in at competition for DJI? Well, then DJI drops the Osmo 360.
Right.
So
and
they dropped the new
Osmo line for a while.
Yeah, the Osmo line, right? But they haven't had a 360 camera. DJI has it. They've had an action cam, but they haven't had a 360, right?
Yeah.
GoPro has the GoPro Max, which apparently GoPro is pushing an update for their 360 camera. So there's this interesting struggle, right?
Right.
A decade ago, so 2015, 360 cams were huge, widely popular.
Right.
Go to my YouTube page and go back and look at some of the 360 videos I made using a React Theta S. That was all pictures, video. You could do it all with it. So it's not a new technology. It's been around for a long time.
Right.
You're seeing it being used in vertical videos to show a whole scene. So you're seeing a lot of influencers, a lot of content creators using 360 cameras and showing and being able to show different content, different angles, different clips, all from their same video interactively. You're seeing it's wild. You're seeing a ton of it on YouTube Shorts.
So I could be watching a video and turn my device to the right, and I may be able to see what's going on the right.
So some of it, yes. So YouTube, you can stream 360 video live on YouTube. At least you have been able to. I haven't done it in a long time. Where your phone is the camera. Now that's live,
right?
Right. So that's the hard part. I couldn't figure out was how do you make interactive content for YouTube with 360 degree videos? You have to edit them. You have to edit and be creative and storytell within the 360 degree environment. It's too much for people. We tried to do it with news content. We tried to do it live.
Right.
But nobody wants to sit at their phone and go, okay, what am I looking at? Oh, hold on, I got to pan to the right. Oh, there's the action. Oh, cool. Now there's the sky. Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
So trying to generate that content, but you're seeing it being used interactively in edited pieces. A lot on YouTube Shorts, a lot on Instagram, and a lot on TikTok. So it's interesting how much of a time period has passed with this technology that has existed. And there wasn't a market for it at first, so it kind of just fell under the radar. And everybody focused on action cams and higher quality cameras and, and now all of a sudden there's this huge Insta360 kind of just was there. They kept developing the technology, they kind of became the industry leader in 360.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, hey, why is everybody doing all this 360 content? Where Insta360 is the only one? No. There's Nikon has a 360 cam. Right. Kodak made a 360 cam. GoPro made one. There's so many other 360 cams that exist that are hilarious because you think like, oh, this is wild.
Right.
But there was no market for it. So they just stopped developing it. And Insta360 just kind of kept there. And
wow.
Now there's three major players, GoPro, DJI, and Insta.
We'll have an update maybe next week. We get a little more info about that. Maybe we'll find out an actual release date for the AntiGravity as well. We're going to take another quick break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Find us on the World Wide Web at techtalkradio.com or use Google it and tell somebody about us by making them Google it.
Yes. It was announced this week that many people have been fans and waiting for the next Battlefield video game. If you like playing games and you've played the Battlefield franchise, that there was going to be, number one, a release date they got for, I believe it's October 10th for Battlefield 6, but they're giving people a chance to try it out.
The open beta. The open beta will run over 2 periods of time, August 9th and 10th. in August 14th to 17th. So that just helps them get an idea of what the server load's going to feel like. It kind of gives you an idea of what the game's going to feel like, find out any game-breaking bugs, that kind of stuff.
You ever done a beta like this?
Yeah, I've done betas for several games over the years. Some of the original Battlefields, also Battlefield 4,
Right.
some of the other Blizzard games that I play, and some other games
You have
that
to have
some friends
like
have
a
got.
killer system, a gaming system to be able to do.
To be honest, I think it was like a 1070 Ti was still like the bottom end of the spectrum.
Oh, well,
So
most people will have a little better anyways. Yeah.
you can go to their EA's website and find out what the specs are. But
All right. Cool.
and then I wanted to bring one more thing up.
All right.
What do you think across the OSs? What's the market share between Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Chrome OS, and other?
Oh man. Oh yeah. I forgot about Chrome OS too. I would say probably Microsoft holds the biggest piece of pie.
But how much is the pie?
I would say it's about 52%.
70 to 71% is Windows.
Is it really still? Wow.
This is based off of Stat Counter, which is the website that it pulled from.
Right. What about Mac?
16%.
That's it. Linux.
See, I don't know about that.
Linux?
I feel like Linux
that's
for 4%.
Right.
Chrome is 2%.
Chrome. I don't know very many people that just stick with Chrome unless it's a laptop for school. That's all I think of when I think of that. But I don't know if Windows has got to be that much. I would think it's a little less. Well, those numbers will change.
But for phones, Android 72%, iOS 26%.
Really? Wow. So, well, Android. I looked at the new Android this past week. You got to check out the video. The one from Asus, the ROG9. Oh, man. The ROG9 Pro, pretty amazing. Again, check out the website, techtalkradio.com. You see the video there. That's it for this week. We ran out of time. Thank you, Shawn, for coming on. I think next week we should hopefully have Matt.
The whole crew.
Everybody will be with us. And if you got questions, email them, techguys@techtalkradio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Just find us on the web, techtalkradio.com, or our other social medias, and have a great week.